Outpost 9 trained dragons like weapons. Yard was fenced with steel and smelled of smoke. Soldiers stood in lines while a young war dragon named Rexer marched in perfect steps. His chains were thick, his muzzle was metal, his eyes were gold and cold. Commander Voss watched with a proud smile. Rexer never broke a rule. Then a human girl walked into the yard. Carrying a box of tools, her name was Mira. She was only a helper. She kept her head low and moved fast, because everyone here feared dragons. Rexer's head snapped toward her. A few soldiers laughed. "He smells fear," one said. Rexer turned his whole body. The chain teams pulled, but the dragon did not slow. He walked past the target dummies, past the fire pits, straight to the girl. Mira froze. The toolbox shook in her hands. "Move." Someone shouted Rex, or stopped one step from her, and sat down. A war dragon did not sit in front of a human. Commander Voss's smile vanished. His voice dropped to a whisper. "No, not that." The yard went silent. Rexer lowered his head, slow and careful, like he was waiting for Mira too. "Speak." Voss lifted his hand. "Nobody touch the girl," he ordered. "If you grab her, he will burn this yard." Rifles rose. Chains tightened. Mira's heart slammed in her chest. She wanted to run, but her legs felt locked. Rexer's eyes held her steady. They were not wild now. They were focused. "Girl," Voss said, still watching Rexer. "What did you do?" "I did nothing," Mira whispered. "I just work here." Rexer breathed out. Smoke leaked through the muzzle seams. Voss tried one command, calm and sharp. Rexer, stand. The dragon did not move. That scared Voss more than any roar. Rexer had been trained since he was a hatchling. He was built for war. Bite on command. Burn on command. Obey the control ring. Today, he ignored it all. Mira's eyes dropped to Rexer's collar. Near the first lock, a deep scratch marked the metal, circle split by a line like a half-closed eye. Mira knew that mark. Her mouth opened before her mind caught up. That symbol. Voss turned fast. "Where have you seen it?" "Scrap room," Mira said, voice thin. "On an old plate. It looked burned, like it survived a fire." Voss's face tightened. Old stories flashed in his memory, stories he never told recruits. Signs dragons used long before the cores put chains on them. Rexer leaned closer, not to strike, to listen. Mira felt the hot breath on her hands. She whispered the first simple thing that came to her. "Rexer, it's okay." The dragons. Shoulders lowered, smoke thinned. Around them, hardened soldiers stared. A human girl had calmed a war dragon with 5 words. An officer stepped forward, angry. "Commander, remove the civilian." Voss did not look away from Rexer. "If you try, you'll start a massacre," he said. "Hold position."
Yes.
The officer hesitated. Voss leaned toward Mira. "Slow steps," he said. "Do not run."
Do not.
"Turn your back." Mira nodded once. She took one step. Rexer's claws scraped the ground. She took another. Rexer stayed seated, but his body tightened, ready to explode if anyone rushed her. Voss guided her toward a side gate. He opened it and let her pass into the service hall. Mira glanced back. Rexer watched her until the door shut. Only then did Rexer lift his head and release a low sound. It was not a roar. It was like a call, deep and old. Voss felt the meaning hit him, cold as ice. That sound meant a choice. That night, Mira sat in the scrap room under a weak lamp. She found the old plate again. Same half-closed eye was burned into the surface. Under it were small marks like letters, but she could not read them. The outpost lights flickered once. Twice then. Came a sharp screech of metal from the dragon pen. Mira ran to the window. Rexer was awake, still chained. He was scraping his claw against the floor, carving the symbol again and again, as if he had to leave a warning before time ran out. An alarm began to wail across Outpost 9, and Rexer, eyes bright as molten gold, turned his head toward the sky. Asterisk the alarm screamed. Red lights flashed across Outpost 9. Mira stood in the service hall and watched the dragon pen through a small window. Rexer's head was raised. He was not looking at soldiers. Hey, He was watching the sky like he was waiting. "Commander." Voss grabbed a radio. "Lock the outer gates," he said. "No one enters the yard. And nobody goes near Rexer without my word," the guard answered, tight and scared. "Sir, sky sensors pinged. A ship is coming in. Not cores." Voss's eyes hardened. "How close?" 2 minutes, Mira swallowed. "Is it an attack?" Voss didn't look at her. "Get to my office now." They moved fast through the hall. Blast doors dropped. Boots pounded. Soldiers stared at Mira like she was trouble. In the office, a screen showed Rexer. He stood now, chains stretched, eyes locked on the clouds. He did not roar. He did not burn.
Yes.
He waited. Voss spoke low, like every word mattered. "Do not aim at him unless he moves first," he told the radio. "If you scare him, you die." Mira whispered, "Why did he sit with me?" Voss kept his eyes on the screen. "War dragons don't choose humans," he said. "They obey one ring, one handler." "But he ignored you," Mira said. Voss's jaw tightened. "Yes." A deep engine sound rolled over the base. Mira looked out and saw a dark shuttle sliding down through the clouds, quiet for its size. No cores, Mark. No lights until the last second. Voss's face changed. "Housecar," he said. Mira frowned. "Who's that?" Fires, Voss said. "Thieves. They steal dragons and sell them." The shuttle landed outside the outer gate. Bright scan beams swept the fence, slow and careful, like fingers searching for a weak spot. Then Voss's radio buzzed with a new voice, smooth and not. "Cores, Commander Voss," the voice said. "We are here for an inspection. Open the gate." Voss pressed the button. "This is a military outpost. You are not cleared." The voice gave a soft laugh. "Your outpost is flagged. A war dragon showing bond behavior is a sector risk. We'll contain it." Mira looked at Voss. "Bond behavior." Voss didn't answer. The voice stayed polite. "Open the gate, or we open it for you." A sharp crack sounded outside. The fence lights blinked. One section of the gate went dark. "They're cutting the power," guards shouted over the radio. "They're in the grid." Voss grabbed his coat. "Mira stays here," he snapped. "At a soldier, lock the door." Mira stepped forward. "Rexer knew," she said. "He warned us." Voss stopped, just for a breath. "Then tell me why he chose you." "I don't know," Mira said. "But when I talk, he calms." Voss stared at her, then made a choice he clearly hated. "Fine," he said. "You're coming. Stay close. No sudden moves." They hurried toward the yard control room. Screens flickered as power failed. On a camera feed, dark figures slipped inside the outer fence. They carried long tools that hummed, and thin nets rolled on their arms. Voss's voice went tight. "Sound." "Nets," he muttered. "They can stun a dragon without bullets." A heavy roar shook the speakers. Rexer surged forward. Chains snapped tight. Sparks jumped where his claws scraped the floor. But Rexer did not attack the nearest soldier. He turned, toward the service hall. Toward Mira. Mira felt pressure behind her eyes, like a thought that was not hers. Not words. A clear feeling. "Come, Voss." "Saw it too. He's tracking you," he said. "If they grab you, he follows. If they hurt you, the lights died." The hall fell into total black. Mira reached for the wall, breathing fast. The air smelled like hot metal. Radio voices turned into static. Somewhere far off, chains rattled once, hard, like Rexer had slammed into the pen gate. Mira whispered into the dark Rexer. "Hey, I'm here." Footsteps moved close, slow and sure. A small light clicked on, just enough to show a shadow beside her. Then a calm voice spoke right next to her ear. "Hello, little human," it said. "We've been looking for the one he sat with." Mira did not scream. Her throat was dry. A thin wrist light clicked on. It showed a black helmet and a smooth suit. The stranger's voice was calm. "Housecar," he said. "You will come with us." Behind him, two more figures filled the hallway. One held a small metal ring with sharp teeth inside. Mira's stomach turned. That's a control ring, not cores, the stranger said. Better, far away, Rexer roared. The floor vibrated. Metal screamed in the pen. Mira felt it in her ribs. The stranger leaned in. He's looking for you. Good. He reached for her wrist. Mira lifted her toolbox and slammed it into the wall. The clang echoed. Boots pounded. A voice cut through the dark. Mira. Emergency strips flared on. Commander Voss appeared with 2 guards. His weapon was up, but his eyes were on Mira. Let her go, Voss said. The stranger pulled Mira in. Front of him. Voss froze. He could not shoot. Open a way to the yard, the stranger said. We are taking the dragon. Voss's jaw tightened. You're inside my base. And you're losing control, the stranger replied. Another boom shook the hall. Rexer hit the gate again. The chains strained like they were about to snap. The stranger tugged Mira forward. Move. They dragged her down a side passage toward the service exit. Voss followed at a careful distance. 2 intruders kept weapons aimed at him. Mira tried to breathe slow. She whispered, barely moving her lips. Rexer. Stay. A warm pressure rose behind her eyes, like a reply without words. For a moment, her fear dropped. She knew he could feel her. They reached the service door. Cold air rushed in. The yard was chaos. Sirens screamed. Floodlights swung across steel fences. Soldiers stood in broken lines, not sure who to aim at. In the center pen, Rexor stood like a storm. His muzzle smoked. His wings were tight. His chains were stretched so hard they sang. The moment Mira stepped outside, Rexer's eyes locked on her. He stopped roaring. That silence made soldiers step back. The stranger raised the control ring. Watch. His team fired a sound net. Watch. It burst open and dropped onto Rexer's chest. Like a bright web, Rexer jolted. He staggered. Sparks jumped from the net. A harsh hiss leaked through his muzzle as he fought to stay on his feet. Mira's hands shook. She hated what they were doing to him. The stranger pushed her shoulder. Tell him to come. Tell him to kneel. Mira stared at Rexer. His eyes were not wild. They were focused, waiting. She understood one thing. Her words could kill people or save them. If she said come, Housecar would lead Rexer into the shuttle like a chained bomb. Rexer, she said, loud enough to cut through. The siren. Look at me. Rexer's head snapped toward her. Mira kept her voice simple. Sit now. Rexer's legs bent. He sat. Every soldier in the yard froze. Even the wind felt quiet. Commander Voss stared at Rexer's posture and felt old fear crawl up his spine. In the ancient manuals, sitting was not a trick. It was a sign. The dragon had chosen a bond, and chosen a side. The stranger's voice turned hungry. Good. Now say, come. Da. Voss lifted his hand to his guards. Hold fire. He warned, one shot and he burns us all. Mira did not look at the stranger. She looked only at Rexer. Stay with me, she said. Protect me. Rexer's tail curled. His body angled between Mira and Housecar. Not attacking yet. Shielding. The stranger's helmet snapped toward her. What did you say?
Rexer.
Rose in one smooth motion. The sound net flickered, then failed. One chain link popped loose with a sharp crack. Voss shouted, Mira, down. Mira dropped to her knees. Rexer stepped forward and stopped in front of her. Massive and steady, blocking the intruders like a living wall. For the first time, the stranger stepped back. Above them, the dark shuttle engines roared again. The ship. Lifted, slow, and ready, as if it was about to take off with a prize, and Mira realized House. Carr did not come for a dragon. They came for the human he chose. Asterisk. Rexer stood in front of Mira like a shield made of scales and heat. The intruders from Housecar spread out, calm but careful. They did not rush him. They'd come prepared. Commander Voss raised his arm. All units form a line, he ordered. Do not shoot unless I say, a guard whispered, sir. He's breaking chain. Voss saw it. One link had snapped, another was stretched white. If Rexer fully broke free, the outpost could turn into Ashdot, Housecar's leader lifted both hands, pretending peace. "Commander, let us contain the risk," he said. "We'll take the dragon and the girl. No one dies." Mira's hands curled into fists. She looked up at Rexer's leg beside her. The ground under him was warm. Voss spoke through clenched teeth. "You don't contain a war dragon, you steal it." The leader tilted his head. "We don't need him to obey us," he said. "We only need her." Ira's stomach dropped. Rexer's head moved a little, like he heard the meaning. "Even through the noise?" His eyes narrowed. The leader gave a small signal. Two intruders slid to the side with a metal pole that hummed at the tip. "Shock lance," Voss muttered. "They want to drop him." The lance struck the ground and sent a wave of blue light through the air. Rexer flinched, not from pain, but from control tech that pressed against his nerves. Mira shouted, "Rexer, stay." Rexer's breathing slowed. The smoke thinned. He held his place. Voss stared at Mira, shocked. "He listened," he said under his breath. Housecar's leader noticed too. His voice became cold. "Take the girl now." Two intruders rushed Mira. Rexer moved before anyone could think. He did not burn, did not bite. He slammed his tail into the ground between them. The impact threw dust and gravel like a blast. The intruders stumbled back, helmets clanking. Voss pointed. "Net them." Corps guards fired restraint foam. White gel splattered across one intruder's boots and locked him in place. Another intruder cut free with a hot blade and rolled away. The sky above the yard flashed as the shuttle lowered again. Closer this time? Its belly doors opened like a mouth. A cable dropped. Mira realized their plan. They were not fighting to win. They were fighting to grab her for 5 seconds. Voss moved to Mira's side. "We have to get you inside," he said. "If they pull you up," a loud crack cut him off. Rexer's chain snapped. The sound was like a gunshot. Soldiers stepped back in panic. Someone screamed, "He's free!" Rexer didn't attack them. He turned toward Mira and lowered his head. Just enough for her to see his collar clearly. The symbol was there again, scratched deeper now. The half-closed eye. Mira's mind flashed back to the scrap plate, to the burned marks under the symbol. She whispered, "It's a warning." Another wave hit Rexer's sound net and shock lance together. As Rexer's muscles locked for a second. His wing twitched. His muzzle hissed with trapped fire. Mira felt that strange pressure behind her eyes, again like a silent push. Run. She didn't know how she knew. She knew. Rexer was not just protecting her. He was trying to move her. Mira grabbed Voss's sleeve. "The runway," she said fast. "We need open space." Voss stared. "Why?" "Because they want to lift me," she said. "If we go under the shuttle, they win. If we go where they can't hover low," Voss understood. "Runway has anti-air guns," he said. "It won't come close." He yelled into his radio. "All units, fall back to the runway corridor. Now." Mira stood and ran. Rexer followed, fast, controlled, terrifying. Not like a beast chasing prey, but like a soldier moving with purpose. He kept his body between Mira and Housecar the whole time, blocking angles. Housecar's leader shouted, "Cut them off." 3 intruders sprinted ahead, trying to reach the runway gate first. One threw a small disc that bounced and stuck to the ground. The disc blinked red. Voss's eyes widened. "Mine, down," he screamed. Mira hit the ground. Rexer dropped a wing over her like a shield. The mine exploded with a dull boom. Heat punched the air. Metal fragments pinged off Rexer's scales. Smoke rolled over them. Mira coughed, ears ringing. She looked up. Rexer's wing had a burn mark, but he did not pull away. He lifted the wing slowly, checking her first. Then they ran again. They burst through the runway gate into open space. Cold wind slapped Mira's face. The runway. Light stretched long into the distance like a path into darkness. Voss shouted to the tower, "Lock anti-air on that shuttle." A voice answered, shaky, "Sir, targeting is not responding." Mira's blood turned cold. "Why not?" The tower voice cracked. "Because another ship just entered the zone." Mira looked up. A second shadow slid across the clouds, bigger. Then the shuttle, silent and moving like it owned the sky, and Rexer, seeing it, stopped running. He sat down again. The runway wind howled across Outpost 9. Mira stood near the center light, knees shaking. Rexer sat beside her like a boulder, eyes fixed on the dark shape sliding through the clouds. Commander Voss stared upward. "That is not House Car," he said behind them. The car shuttle hovered at a safe distance. Its cables still dangled, swinging like a hook that suddenly felt useless. The tower radio crackled. "Commander, our screens are going blank. Can't read the new contact." Voss spoke into his mic. "Use optics. Tell me what you see." A pause. Then the tower voice returned. "Small, sir. There are no running lights. No engine flare. Oh, it's moving like it's falling, but it's not falling." Mira felt the pressure behind her eyes again, like a warning without words. Rexer's tail curled tight. He stayed perfectly still, as if stillness was his best weapon. Housecar's leader stepped onto the runway edge, keeping distance. His helmet turned from the sky to Rexer, then to Mira. "Your dragon is afraid," he said. Voss snapped. "Back away."
The leader ignored him. He sat again. He said, "Ice. He recognizes the threat."
Rexer lowered his head for a moment, not toward the enemy, but toward Mira's quate. "Choose." Mira swallowed. "I'm here," she whispered. The runway lights flickered. One by one, they dimmed, like the night was drinking them. Soldiers shouted. Power drop. A mechanic yelled from a bunker door. "Generators are fine. Something is pulling from the grid." The air turned cold enough for Mira to see her breath. Voss looked up and felt his stomach sink. The shadow was not shaped like a normal ship. It was too smooth in places, too jagged in others, like darkness trying to copy metal. The tower voice returned, shaking. "Commander, the contact is opening." Above them, the shadow split along a long seam. Thin pale line appeared, then widened like an eye opening in the sky. Rexer rose in one slow motion. Heat rolled off him. All the seams of his muzzle glowed. Faintly, Voss yelled, "All units into cover!" Now, some soldiers ran. Others froze, staring upward. Housecar's team moved fast and disciplined. They pulled back toward their shuttle. The leader's calm voice was gone. "Abort. We leave now." Thieves did not run unless the danger was worse than prison. A deep vibration rolled down from the sky. It made teeth hurt and metal shake. Runway lights popped and shattered in a chain. Mira dropped to one knee. Rexer stepped in front of her again. Wings half open, body blocking the eye. Then the pale eye flashed, and a beam of soft light poured down, not hot, not bright, but heavy, like it had weight. Where it touched the runway, frost spread in fast lines. Mira's boots stuck as ice gripped the soles. Voss shouted from behind. "A barrier, don't move into that light." The beam shifted, searching. It slid over sandbags, over steel, over running soldiers. It did not chase the loudest. It moved with purpose. It stopped on Rex, or Rod at last. The sound was pure. Anger. Fire pressed against his muzzle. Trapped and raging, the beam brightened. Rexer's scales dulled, as if the light was draining his heat. His breath became white mist. Mira's chest tightened. "Rexer." She tore her boots free and ran to his. Side Voss shouted her name, but she did not stop. Mira pressed a hand to Rexer's foreleg. "Look at me," she said, loud and clear. "Stay with me." For a heartbeat, the beam wavered. Like it noticed her, Rexer bent his neck and shoved his collar toward her as if he wanted her to see it. The half-closed eye mark looked darker now, almost fresh, like it had been burned from inside. Voss crawled closer, face pale. "That symbol," he said. "It means gate. It means lock." Mira stared at him. "So, what is the key?" Voss's voice broke, just a little. "You," he said, "or the bond he gave you." Housecar's leader froze at the runway edge. "We didn't know," he whispered. "This isn't our hunt." A new voice filled every speaker on the base comm, flat and not human. "Return the key, or be sealed." A pale eye in the sky turned slow and certain, and the beam began to slide off Rexer. And onto Mira, the pale beam slid off Rexer, and moved on to Mira. The cold hit her first. It was not normal cold. It felt heavy, like the air itself was pressing her down. Ice crawled over the runway in thin lines toward her boots. Mira tried to step back, but her legs moved slow. Rexer roared and shoved himself between her and the light. His wings opened wide. The beam struck his wing instead, and frost spread across the membrane. Commander Voss shouted from behind a barrier. Mira, get under cover. Metal roof. Now. Mira looked around. The runway was open. Too open. Was nowhere to hide from a sky that could see. Then she saw the hangar door on the far side half, open from the chaos. She ran. Rexer moved with her, matching her speed, using his body like a moving wall. The beam tried to follow, but Rexer kept cutting the line. Every time the light touched him, his scales dulled for a second, like it stole heat. Voss ran behind them with 3 guards. Don't spread out, he yelled. Stay close to the dragon. Housecar's leader stood near his shuttle, frozen in place. He watched the beam hunt and made a hard decision. He jogged toward Voss with his hands up. Commander, he called. We can't fight that thing, but we can hide from it. Voss aimed his weapon. Say one more word and I drop you. Leader stopped at a safe distance. We have a screen device, he said. Short range. It bends, scans for a few seconds. It was meant for your cameras. Voss hesitated. He hated trusting thieves. But the sky was real, and it was choosing targets like it had a mind. Throw it, Voss ordered. Slow. The leader took a small black puck from his belt and rolled it across the ground toward them. It stopped near Mira's path. Voss kicked it closer to the hangar. Now, he shouted. The puck blinked once. The air around it shimmered, like heat over a road. For a moment, the beam above wobbled. It lost its straight focus. Mira felt the pressure behind her eyes ease. Just a little go. Voss yelled. They sprinted into the hangar. The moment they crossed under the metal roof, the beam hit the hangar door instead of Mira. Frost spread along the outer wall. But the inside stayed darker and warmer. Mira leaned against a crate, breathing. Rexer stood over her, chest rising like a furnace that was trying not to explode. The bass speakers crackled again. That flat voice returned. The key hides, under iron. Voss's face drained. It can still sense, he said. Roof blocks, direct lock, but not the search. Mira swallowed. It called me the key, she whispered. Why? Voss looked at her like he had run out of lies. Because you changed him, he said. A war dragon should not choose a human. That bond. It matches an old system. Mira remembered the scrap room plate, the burned mark, the half-closed eye. The plate, she said, in the scrap room. Same symbol. Voss snapped his head toward her. You're sure? Yes, Mira said. It's real, I saw it. Voss grabbed his radio. Static answered. No network. The sky had eaten the signal. Then we go by foot, he said. Service tunnels. The hangar had a floor hatch. Voss threw it open, revealing a ladder down into a narrow tunnel. Cold air rolled up from below. Mira climbed down first. Rexer could not fit, but he pressed his head into the hatch opening. Watching her, he let out a low sound, soft, worried. Mira touched his muzzle gently. Stay close, she whispered. Please. Rexer's eyes held hers. Then he backed away and moved along the hangar wall above, footsteps heavy, tracking them through the roof line. In the tunnel, emergency lights glowed weakly. Voss led gun up, boots silent on metal grates. Above them, a deep vibration shook dust from the ceiling. The sky was moving. Searching, they reached the scrap corridor. The door was already open. Mira's heart dropped. Inside, the scrap room was a mess. Drawers pulled out, metal sheets tossed aside. Someone had searched it fast. Mira ran to the shelf where the burned plate had been. It was gone. Voss swore under his breath. Someone took it. A slow clap echoed from the doorway. A Corps officer stepped in, smiling like this was a clean job. He held the burned plate in one hand and a stun baton in the other. Good instincts, Commander, the officer said. But Sector Command wants the key secured. His eyes settled on Mira, And that means the girl comes with me. Mira backed away from the doorway, but there was nowhere to go. The scrap room was small and packed with metal. Commander Voss stood in front of her, weapon raised, his eyes locked on the Corps' officer. The officer smiled again, like he was proud. Of his plan, he held the burn plate up so they could all see the half-closed eye symbol. You see, he said. This is bigger than your outpost. Sector Command wants control of the lock. They want the key secured. Mira's throat tightened. I'm not a key. The officer's gaze did not soften. You are, whether you like it or not. Voss took one slow step forward. Name your order, he said. Because what you're doing looks like treason. The officer gave a light shrug. Call it survival, he said. That thing in the sky is not here for your pride. It wants the key. If we hand her over clean, it may stop the seal. Mira felt that pressure behind her eyes again, stronger now, like the sky was listening through stone. Voss's voice turned low and sharp. And if it doesn't stop? The officer's smile faded a little. Then we die, he said simply. So I'm choosing the option with a chance? Behind Voss, the housecar leader stepped into the tunnel entrance, hands open. He looked tired and scared, not proud anymore. Commander, he said, he's right about one thing. The sky will keep hunting, but handing the girl over is not safety. It's a leash. The officer snapped his baton toward the car leader. Quiet, you don't speak here, Mira. Glanced at the burn plate. Symbol looked darker than before, like it had soaked in smoke and time. Under it, the old mark seemed to shimmer for a second, almost like faint letters. She whispered to Voss, that plate, it feels warm. Didn't look away from the officer. Mira, he said, stay behind me. The officer stepped closer. Give her to me, he said. Now. Voss shook his head once. No. For the first time, the officer's calm face cracked. You think you can fight the sky? He snapped. You think your dragon will save you under a seal? Mira's mind flashed to the runway lights dying, frost spreading, the eye opening. The voice, return the key, or be sealed. Her fear turned into a hard decision. She took one step forward around Voss's shoulder. Mira. Voss hissed. Mira raised her hand slowly, showing she was not holding anything. Stop, she said to the officer. Her voice was simple but steady. You can't fix this by taking me. The officer's eyes narrowed. I don't need your opinion, child. Mira swallowed. Rexer chose me, she said. If you hurt me, he will burn your plan. The officer laughed, but it sounded forced. That dragon is a weapon, he said. Weapons obey control. Mira looked him straight in the face. Not this one, she said. Above them, metal groaned. Dust fell from the ceiling. Voss's head snapped up. He's here, he whispered. A heavy impact hit the scrap room roof, then another. Rexer was moving fast above the tunnels, tracking Mira by sound, by smell, by bond. The officer's smile disappeared completely. He raised the stunned baton. Enough, he said. I'm taking her. He lunged. Voss moved like a trained soldier. He slapped the baton arm aside and shoved the officer into a rack of metal sheets. The sheets crashed down with a loud clatter. Mira flinched. But she stayed standing. The officer snarled and reached for the burned plate like it was a prize. The sector will reward me, he hissed. The housecar leader suddenly threw a small black puck across the floor. It bounced once and blinked. The air shimmered again the same. Scan-bending effect from the runway, Voss grabbed Mira's wrist. Run, he ordered. They sprinted for the tunnel. The shimmer made the lights flicker like the world couldn't decide what was real. Behind them, the officer shouted into a small wrist device, voice wild. I have the key. His words cut off. A sound like tearing steel filled the hallway. Rexer's head smashed through the scrap room outer wall, stone and metal cracking under raw strength. His eyes were bright, furious, and locked on the officer. The officer stumbled back, suddenly. Small Rexer did not bite. He did not burn. He lowered his head and released one deep, warning growl that shook the floor. It said one thing without words. Mine. Then the bass speakers crackled to life again, even underground. The flat voice returned, clearer than ever. K-E-Y. Identified. Seal confirmed. The half-closed eye symbol on the burned plate flared with pale light in the officer's shaking hand, and every door in the tunnel slammed shut at once. The tunnel went quiet after the doors slammed. Locks bit hard. Emergency lights stayed weak and yellow. Commander Voss pulled a handle. It would not move, sealed, he said. In the scrap-room doorway, the Corps officer held the burned plate. The half-closed eye on it glowed pale. The base. Speakers whispered through stone. Key identified. Seal confirmed. Mira's head throbbed. That strange pressure behind her eyes returned, cold and searching. Rexer stood between Mira and the officer, guarding. Housecar's leader stared at the symbol. Gate mark, he said. It's old lock system. Da-da-da. Another tremor shook the floor. Thin frost crawled under the door seams, white lines reaching for them. Voss leaned to Mira. If the seal spreads, we die in here. We need open air. The car leader pointed down the corridor. Roof access hatch. The key must speak where. It can see you. Voss nodded once. Rexer. Break the door. Rexer slammed his shoulder into the sealed tunnel door. Metal bent. Lock screamed. He hit it again, then pushed. The door tore free and crashed inward. They ran. The Corps officer lunged after them, reaching for Mira's arm. Come with me, he snapped. Sector will protect you. Rexer moved like a wall, stepped into the officer's path and lowered his head with a deep, warning growl. The officer froze, then stumbled back. Voss grabbed the burned plate as it slipped from the officer's hand and shoved it into Mira's chest. Don't drop it, he said. That's the only thing the sky is listening to. Mira kept her words simple. Rexer. With me.
Rexer.
Matched her pace, blocking. Angles like a trained soldier. At the ladder bay, frost rimmed the hatch. Voss kicked it open, and cold night air rushed in. The runway lay below, dark and broken. Over it, the sky had widened into a long pale seam. A beam swept in slow arcs, turning ground to ice where it touched. Mira stepped out, and the beam paused. As if it had found her, Rexer stepped beside her at once, wings half open. Voss pointed at the symbol. Touch it, he said. Choose. The plate felt warm. Mira pressed her fingers to the half-closed eye. Her mind filled with one simple idea. I'll open or close. The beam snapped onto Mira. Cold pressure slammed down. Mira's knees shook, but she stood, a thin voice, not from speakers this time, pressed into her thoughts like a rule. State the key. Mira swallowed. Mira, she whispered. The symbol flared brighter, as if it accepted her name. Voss shouted over the wind, now. Mira lifted her chin. I am the key, she said, and I choose. For a heartbeat, nothing moved. Then pale light spilled from the plate and raced across the metal roof like a ring. The beam flickered, like it had hit a wall. The frost lines slowed. Some cracked. The sky seemed shuttered. Mira forced her voice to stay steady. Close the gate, she said. Lock the seal. On you. Leave us. Rexer roared once steady, powerful like he was backing her choice. The long seam narrowed. Fighting then snapped shut, as if a hidden lock clicked into place. The hum faded. Mylance fell over Outpost 9. Mira's legs gave out. Rexer lowered himself beside her and sat, close enough that she could lean on his warm scales. Voss turned and aimed his weapon at the Corps officer, who had finally climbed out behind them. You tried to trade a child, Voss said. You're done. The burned plate went dark. The symbol became quiet metal again. Mira stared at the clouds. Yeah, I was gone, but she could still feel a faint pressure, like something far away had learned her name. Rexer nudged the plate gently with his muzzle. Voss looked at Rexer sitting beside her. That first sit, he said, voice rough, was not obedience. Mira whispered. It was a choice. On the runway below, soldiers stepped out of cover. staring at the human girl and the war dragon sitting together like it should not be possible. And on the metal near the tower, a fresh mark appeared, bright and clean, a half-closed eye. And a second line, a new gate had been made.